This happened on New Year's Eve, and I still catch myself checking the locks when December rolls around. My name's Evan. I was 27 that winter, living alone in a rental house outside a small town in northern Michigan. The kind of place where the roads disappear under snow before anyone bothers to plow them, and neighbors are far enough apart that you don't hear each other breathe. New Year's was supposed to be quiet. That was the plan. No party, no crowds, just me, a frozen pizza, and the TV humming in the background while fireworks popped somewhere far away. I remember thinking how peaceful it felt. That should have been my first warning. It was December 31st, just after 10:30 p.m. Snow had been falling all day, thick and steady, the kind that eats sound. When I stepped onto the porch earlier to bring in firewood, it was so quiet my ears rang. No wind, no cars, just white everywhere. By 11, I had the lights low and the volume barely on. I didn't want to miss midnight, but I also didn't really care if I did. I was halfway through my second beer when I heard something hit the side of the house. Not hard, more like a tap. I froze, bottle halfway to my mouth. Another tap followed, then a third. I told myself it was snow sliding off the roof. Happens all the time. Still, I muted the TV and listened. Nothing. I actually laughed, just a short, embarrassed breath through my nose. Yeah, definitely just the house settling. Old place made noise all the time. Then the motion sensor light in my backyard flicked on. I frowned and leaned toward the window. From my angle, I could only see the glow on the snow, not what triggered it. Probably a deer, I thought. We had plenty of them. I waited for the light to shut off. It didn't. After about a minute, I stood up and peered through the glass. The yard looked wrong. Not empty, just still, too still. The light cast a hard yellow circle on the snow, and right at the edge of it, I'm going to say this carefully, there were footprints, single set, deep, leading from the tree line to just outside the reach of the light. They stopped there. No return tracks. I remember whispering, "What the hell?" like someone was there to hear me. I checked the time on my phone, 11:47 p.m. I grabbed my jacket and boots before I could talk myself out of it. I didn't bring a weapon. Yeah, stupid, I know. But I figured if someone was messing around, I'd scare them off just by opening the door. The porch creaked under my weight. Cold hit me like a wall, the kind that makes your lungs sting. "Hey," I called, trying to sound annoyed instead of nervous. "You need something?" My voice disappeared into the snow. I stepped down into the yard. The footprints were clearer up close. Adult boots. Heavy. Whoever it was had been standing there for a while. I followed them backward toward the trees. They didn't waver, didn't slide, just straight, deliberate steps. And then, this is where my stomach started to twist. The prints changed. Not direction, shape. The boot tread faded, stretched, until they looked almost barefoot. I actually laughed again, a nervous little sound. "Okay, that's not possible," I muttered. I straightened up and looked toward the trees. That's when I heard breathing. Not mine. Low. Slow. Right ahead of me. "Hello?" I said. Nothing answered. The breathing stopped. I backed away, every instinct screaming now. I didn't turn around. I just kept my eyes on the tree line until I felt the porch behind me. Inside, I locked the door, then the deadbolt. Then I checked the windows, heart pounding hard enough I could feel it in my throat. I told myself to calm down. People get weird around holidays. Drunk kids. Pranks. I sat back down just as the TV announcer started counting down somewhere in Times Square. 10. 9. That's when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stared at it, thumb hovering. 8. 7. I answered. I don't know why. Maybe I thought it was a wrong number. Maybe I just wanted a human voice. Hello? Static. Then breathing. The same slow, controlled breathing I heard outside. 6. 5. Who is this? I asked. A voice came through, soft and calm, like someone trying not to wake a sleeping child. You should be with people tonight. My skin prickled. How did you get my number? I asked. 4. 3. You turned the porch light off, the voice continued. That made it darker for me. I stood up so fast the chair scraped loudly across the floor. 2. You're outside, I said. It came out as a statement, not a question. Silence. Then, I'm where the year changes. The TV crowd screamed as midnight hit. I hung up. The house lights flickered once, just once. Then my back door handle rattled. I stood there, frozen, staring down the hallway as fireworks cracked in the distance and the TV cheered a new year I suddenly didn't want any part of. The rattling stopped. For a moment, everything went quiet again. Then I heard footsteps inside the house, slow, measured, walking across my kitchen floor. And someone whispered from just out of sight, Happy New Year, Evan. I didn't move. That's the part people don't believe later. They always say, why didn't you run? Or, why didn't you grab something? But fear like that doesn't make you act. It pins you in place, like your body's waiting for permission to exist. The footsteps stopped in the kitchen, not rushed, not sneaky, just patient. I could still hear the TV in the living room, fireworks popping, strangers cheering a year that had just started and already felt wrong. My brain kept trying to convince me this was some kind of prank, some drunk idiot who'd wandered in, but the back door was locked. I had checked it myself, twice. I whispered, Get out of my house. My voice cracked on house. No response. Then a sound I'll never forget. A chair scraping across the kitchen floor, slowly, deliberately, like someone was sitting down. I took one step back and felt the wall against my shoulders. My heart was hammering so hard it actually hurt. I reached into my pocket and pulled my phone out again, hands shaking so badly I almost dropped it. No signal, of course. I edged toward the hallway that led to the bedrooms. If I could just get to the bathroom, lock myself in, maybe climb out the window. The floorboard near the kitchen doorway creaked. Weight shifted. Someone stood up. I bolted. I don't remember deciding to run. 1 second I was frozen. The next I was sprinting down the hall, boots slipping on hardwood, breath tearing out of my chest. I slammed the bathroom door shut behind me and threw the lock. I stood there, staring at the door, waiting for it to explode inward. It didn't. Instead, I heard footsteps again, slower now. They stopped right outside the bathroom. I clapped a hand over my mouth to keep from making a sound. My lungs burned. Every second stretched thin. Then, knuckles touched the door. Not knocking, just resting there. "You don't have to hide," the voice said. It sounded closer than before, too close. "You already let me in." "I didn't," I whispered. "I locked everything." A pause, then a soft, almost amused exhale. "Locks are for people who follow time." My stomach dropped. "What do you want?" I asked. The answer came instantly. "To make sure you don't forget this year." Something brushed the bottom of the door. Not a hand. Something dragged. I backed away until I hit the sink, eyes locked on the narrow shadow seeping under the door. It wasn't shaped right. Too thin, too stretched. "Please," I said. I hated myself for how small it sounded. The shadow stopped moving. Then the voice changed. It wasn't calm anymore. It sounded tired. People always say that word at the wrong moment. The bathroom light flickered. Once, twice, then went out. I screamed as the door handle twisted violently, slamming back and forth, metal shrieking. I fumbled blindly, found the window latch, and yanked it open. Cold air poured in, along with snow. I climbed. I don't remember hitting the ground. I just remember running. No coat, no plan, barely feeling my legs as I tore through the yard toward the road. Behind me, the house lights all snapped on at once. Every single one. I didn't look back. I reached the road just as headlights appeared through the snow. A pickup truck skidded to a stop, and a man leaned out the window, eyes wide. "Jesus, are you okay?" I collapsed right there in the road. When I woke up, I was in the local police station, heater blasting, coffee in my hands I didn't remember accepting. 2 officers sat across from me, notebooks open. They told me a neighbor had called it in, said they saw someone running into the road screaming on New Year's night, said my house lights were on, but no one answered the door. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, not even mine apparently. Snowfall had covered everything by the time they checked. They asked me to describe the person. I couldn't, because the more I tried to remember his face, the less sense it made. Like my brain slid off it, like trying to remember a dream after waking up. One officer finally asked, "Did he say anything specific?" I swallowed. "Yeah," I said. "He wished me Happy New Year." They exchanged a look. The older one leaned back and said, "You're not the first person around here to say that." My blood ran cold. He told me, unofficially, that every few years, always New Year's Eve, someone reported something similar. A voice, footsteps, a presence inside a locked house, always alone, always just before midnight, and always the person moved away within weeks. I sold that house in February. New city, new job, new locks. But here's the thing. Every December 31st, right around 11:47 p.m., my phone buzzes. Unknown number. I never answer. But sometimes, my porch light turns off by itself, and I can hear breathing outside, waiting. Because wherever the year changes, it's still looking for me.